In this video, I'm tearing down a Binatone walkie-talkie from a few years ago. Let's jump straight into it. So here we have a Binatone walkie-talkie, and as it had stopped working, I decided to do a teardown. So first, I unclipped the back clip, which could be used for holding it onto a pocket. And then I moved my tools out the way. Then I took off the battery cover. I'd already moved the batteries earlier to show you the screw locations. 2 of the screws were covered up with rubber plugs, but 2 of them were easily accessible under the battery cover. I got my screwdrivers ready, but first I needed to remove the rubber plugs from the screws. I'd remove one plug. This one came out much more easily without much persuading. Now it was time to get the top 2 screws on the way out. Having finally removed one screw, it was time to get going on the second screw. The second screw was out, and now it was time for those pesky top screws. Eventually, the third one was out, and then we commenced getting the fourth one out. Around about this point, the top cover fell off. This is interesting for a couple of reasons. Firstly, there were a few versions of this walkie-talkie. Mine was the lowest end version with AAA rather than rechargeable batteries. It also didn't have a connection for a headset, despite seemingly having the equipment on the circuit board to make this possible. Now all the screws were out and we could finally see the interior. The push-to-talk button cover fell out at this point. I managed to pull the aerial shroud off the coil. However, the PCB remained connected to the battery holder and the speaker, so I had to physically cut it off. In the centre of the PCB was the LCD screen. There was also a small microphone and an audio amplifier. On the front of the board, there was a microcontroller, which I later found out has a built-in LCD driver, which makes me think this was responsible for driving the screen. A measly 0.5 watt speaker was also inside, along with a AAA battery holder. This walkie-talkie was not particularly repairable. Almost all of the circuit board components were surface mount, and there were soldered shrouds over some of the components. All the wires were soldered to the circuit board rather than plugged in with connectors, but it was interesting to see inside this very basic device. If you want to see more teardowns, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.